You ever wake up to the kind of morning where you just know in your gut that the day's gonna pick a fight with you? That was me, right as the Texas sun started throwing those long, sharp shadows across my pasture. Air thick with cedar, dust, and a hint of burnt coffee I'd brewed too quick. I was patching up the west fence again, cursing out whatever deer thought they could barrel through barbed wire like it was some kind of finish line, when I caught the sound of tires on gravel, slow, expensive, and way too confident for a stranger out here. Now, nobody just rolls up my drive unless they're lost, stubborn, or itching for trouble. I leaned on the fence post, wiped the sweat off my brow, and watched as a silver wagon, fresh wax, black windows, city money, came cruising over the ridge like it owned the damn place. 3 people stepped out, 2 men in navy blazers, and a woman in heels so pointy they'd be ruined before she made it 20 yards across a pasture. She moved like a politician, grinning with the kind of charm you don't trust. "Mr. Drake," she called, like she was announcing the winner of a contest nobody entered. I didn't even bother answering, just waited. She introduced herself, Karen Schilling, president of the Willow Ridge Preserve HOA, and started in with her little sales pitch about offering, not selling, like there was any real difference. She dropped a number, $1.6 million for the southern 400 acres. Tried to butter me up with talk of generosity and progress and how my land was the missing piece. I let her finish, arms crossed, boots planted, and told her straight. My daddy broke his back digging those ponds, and this land wasn't for sale at any price. One of her cronies tried to show me survey maps they'd made without so much as asking, but I cut him off real quick. Karen tried to get closer, maybe thought I'd melt if she got within handshake distance, but I stayed put. Finally, she dropped the fake smile, gave me a cold little stare, and said they'd follow up. I told her not to bother. Watched their SUV disappear in a snake of dust, and thought, well, that's that. But you know how it is. That's never that. A couple weeks later, I start noticing things, fresh tire tracks by the back gate, orange ribbons tied to my cedar trees, just inside my line. Someone was sniffing around, leaving marks. I cut them all down, dropped the whole wad on my workbench like a sack of dead snakes. Next morning, took my coffee and the drone out to the ridge. Got a bird's-eye view of the HOA border, and sure enough, there's a bulldozer just nudging over the old fence line, clearing brush, like maybe they'd claim it by sheer persistence. Workers were drilling too, looked like water tests, and the plat map on their own website didn't even cover that stretch. They were pushing, testing if I'd bark or bite. That night, my neighbor Rick showed up at my door, guy's honest as they come, but he looked nervous. He'd heard talk from inside. Karen's telling everyone they're gonna annex my land, make it part of Willow Ridge, whether I like it or not. I laughed, then I clenched my jaw so hard I thought my molars would crack. Annexation? Not a chance, unless I say yes, and I sure as hell wasn't gonna. But Rick said they'd been whining and dining the city council, getting planning commissioners on their side, painting me as non-compliant. That was the word. Next day, there's a fancy certified letter in my mailbox. HOA letterhead, heavy paper, legal-sounding threats, noise complaints, gunfire, zoning reviews, plus a big warning. If I didn't voluntarily join, they'd work with local authorities for a jurisdictional reevaluation. It was almost funny, the way they wrapped it up in lawyer speak. Too bad for them. I've got every license, every permit, every insurance paper you could want. My shooting range is as legal as church on Sunday. I called my attorney, Travis, a pit bull in court, and twice as mean if you're trying to play dirty. He read the letter and snorted. They're baiting you, Tom. Trying to get you labeled a nuisance so they can push for rezoning. But they don't have a case. Yet. 2 days later, my phone pings, perimeter alarm. I pull up the camera, and there they are, 2 guys in neon HOA vests, strolling my property with a laser rangefinder, one even snapping selfies by the pond. They'd opened the back gate, too. I grabbed my Remington, not to use, just to make a point, and walked up behind them. Racked it once, loud and clear. You never saw grown men freeze so fast. "Morning, gentlemen," I said, as cool as ice water. "You planning a picnic? 'Cause you're 600 feet onto my property." One tried to bluster, clipboard shaking. "Routine inspection," he said. "Notified you by mail." "Yeah, right." I told them they had 10 seconds to get gone. One tripped and busted his tablet on a rock. The other mumbled about obstruction, as I raised the shotgun skyward. Ain't threatening you, just reminding you whose dirt you're standing on. They left. Sheriff Dan came by an hour later, watched the video, shrugged. You've got every right, Tom. But Karen's got connections. This ain't over. That night, Travis sent a statement to the local paper, laid out the facts, made my position clear. Next day, Facebook's blowing up. Gun-toting rancher terrorizes community volunteers. I just poured myself a whiskey, locked the gate, and kept the cameras rolling. You know what I mean? They wanted me to blink. Instead, I stared right back. A week goes by, and then Travis forwards me a zoning proposal Willow Ridge filed with the county. Deep in the legalese, they're trying to claim that part of my land is a historically utilized community access route. Total fiction. I remembered the road they meant. My dad closed it off years ago after it flooded out, and we filed the paperwork to make it private. I tore through old files for 2 days, dust everywhere, fingers numb, but I found it. A signed county contract from 1996, stamped, official, ending the easement. Even had GPS photos, engineer's notes, solid gold. Travis put together a cease and desist so fast I swear the ink was still wet. That's when Karen stopped sending letters and started sending people. A gray SUV parked at the south fence, for clipboard warriors hopped out, till they hit my new sign, private property. Trespassers will be shot. Survivors will be shot again. Texas joke, but judging by how fast they ran, you'd think I'd posted a landmine warning. That afternoon, Deputy Maynard came out, smiling. Tom, HOA says your sign is a credible threat. I offered him a seat, showed him the camera footage of the SUV crossing my line. He grinned. They'll regret that. Closed the case right there. Then Travis calls, sounding half amused, half furious. Hillridge Developers, one of the biggest outfits in Central Texas, just announced a strategic partnership for the Willow Ridge expansion with none other than Karen's agency, Willow Ridge Realty. Turns out, Karen wasn't just running the HOA. She was gunning for a commission so big it could buy out her own conscience. Everything clicked. The pressure, the threats, the trespassing. It was all about the money. I sent the story and video footage to my buddy Jules, a ranch YouTuber with a sharp eye for small-town drama. 3 days later, his video goes viral. Rancher under siege by greedy HOA. 200,000 views in a day. By the end of the week, Karen nuked her Facebook. My mailbox filled up with threats, lawsuits, subpoenas, every bit of paper the HOA could find to throw at me. Travis called it shotgun litigation. Fire everything, see what sticks. But the tide turned. Out of the blue, I get a message from Brian Chester, a former HOA board member, now ex-friend of Karen's. We meet at a gas station, and he hands me a flash drive. Turns out Karen's been using HOA funds to pay for private lawyers, funneling it all through her realty agency, even signing contracts with Hillridge before any official zoning proposals. Emails, memos, all of it. Travis nearly fell out of his chair when I gave it to him. This wasn't just overreach. It was a full-blown conflict of interest bomb. Travis filed for a restraining order to freeze all land actions by the HOA until the mess could be sorted out. Karen tried to counter, called a secret board meeting, but Lacey, one of the newer residents, found out and blew the whistle on her mommy blog. Is our HOA funding a real estate empire? It spread like wildfire. The board splintered, people walked out, and for the first time, Karen looked beat. But the games weren't done. Black SUV parked outside my gate one night, engine idling. I racked my Remington once under the porch light. They left real quick. Next morning, a typed letter was slipped under my gate. Take the money before things get worse. Nice try. Same day, Department of Agriculture shows up for a random inspection on a bogus complaint. HOA drone crashes in my pine tree. I mounted it on the wall like a trophy. Finally, court day came. News vans, curious neighbors, a packed hearing room. Travis, sharp as ever, started with 30 years of property records, that old contract ending the easement, drone footage, and, boom, the flash drive. Emails, contracts, Karen's name everywhere. There she was on camera at a board meeting, bragging about the commission she'd rake in once I gave up. The judge wasn't having any of it. Barred Karen from HOA leadership for a decade, awarded me damages and legal fees, sent the case for criminal review. I didn't even care about the money. Watching Karen slump in her seat, seeing the truth out in daylight, that was worth it. After that, Everything changed. Karen's house went dark, porch light off for good, face wiped from the HOA website, until someone hacked it and stuck a cartoon vulture holding a for sale sign up instead. 3 board members quit. Ed, the gravel-voiced holdout, left a note in my mailbox. You were right. Not anymore. Folks who used to glare now waved as they passed. Brandon and Lacey brought banana bread, asked if their kids could walk the pond. I said sure, so long as the kids didn't try to name my cows again. The best part? People started asking how to fight back, how to stand their ground. I told em, lines matter. Give up one. Pretty soon there's a highway running through your soul. The land settled down. Grass grew thick. Birds came back to the pond. I rebuilt the old corral just because it felt good to do honest work again. Got an invitation from the local college to talk about standing up for what's yours. Me, a guest speaker. I just laughed. Told those bright-eyed kids that sometimes you plant your feet and the law has to bend around you. They asked how I stayed calm. I told them, if someone thinks they can take what's yours, it's 'cause you let him think it. Now, I walk my fence line with both hands free, knowing they'll think twice before crossing me again. The world doesn't hand you peace. You have to build it, defend it, keep it with every inch of your backbone. The rain came early that fall, and for the first time in a long time, it felt like the land was finally breathing easy. So, let me throw it to you. What would you do if someone tried to claim what your family built? Would you stand up, even when the whole system leans against you? Drop your stories, your questions, your own land battles down below. Let's hear how you fight for what's yours. And if you think justice means something, share this story, hit subscribe, and let him know we're still out here, holding the line.